guys are having a great week so far, and I hope you took some time last week to actually work on our word, which was to do your best every day. I hope it went well for you and that you discovered a few things about yourself in the process. The few things that I discovered was that doing your best every day actually does vary day to day, and that's why it's really important to write down what you want to accomplish, because based on energy or previous obligations or just plain old not wanting to really do much, you can find that what you consider your best will vary. For example, if you wake up and you plan to accomplish a lot and you end up with a migraine, you may not be able to do half of what you did. And managing to even cook when you have a migraine, by the end of the day, when you look through your list and assess how you actually felt and what you accomplished, you may determine that you did indeed do your best for that day, even though it wasn't what you had initially planned to accomplish. Another thing with writing down what your goals are to be your best every day is that you begin to realize if you're being realistic with yourself. Because many times we write very lofty goals, we write a bunch of stuff, maybe because we woke up early or we're feeling particularly enthusiastic, but at the end of the day, we realize that we did indeed do our best, but the list of things that we wanted to accomplish, we didn't accomplish all of those things. And I find that this gives you the opportunity to learn about yourself and plan better, because when you get into the habit of writing down your goals and then cross-checking to determine whether or not you actually accomplish them, you'll start to realize what is realistic for you, and through that you'll be able to plan better and be more efficient. Because the worst thing is to think we can handle more than we can and then be disappointed in ourselves for not accomplishing, when the reason we're not accomplishing is not because we're doing our best, but because we've put more on our plates than we can handle. So if you like it, you could continue doing it every day. It's something that I practice all the time, but I just made sure that I was really focused on it this week, and I hope that it helped a lot of you guys as well. And this week, what we'll be talking about is bridges. So this year so far has been one of the most, I think, monumental years for me in terms of shaping who I'm becoming. There's been a lot of ups, there's been a lot of downs, and there's been so many changes. And one of the things that I've found in my evolution of myself is that many people always tell you don't burn your bridges. And no offense, I think that there's some bridges that need to be torched, set on fire, burnt, and destroyed, and never looked back at again. Because not every situation needs to be one that you can physically go back to. And in learning and evolving in the way I have, the two things that I can take away from a personal standpoint is that I try my best to stick to doing the things that I say I'm gonna do. And the second one is that even though I try to stick to the things I say I'm gonna do, I often lack the discipline required to carry through with my words. So those are the two things that I've been working on personally in all aspects of my life, in relationship, personal relationship, corporate, professional, all over the place. I just want to be somebody who comes to the conclusion of what they want to do so firmly that I can't be swayed when it's something that I truly believe is the right step. And understanding that these are the issues I have, especially the lack of discipline, it's helped me to come up with a way to determine how to deal with bridges and determining whether or not those bridges are some that I should keep or look away from. So there's going to be 4 steps to this. The first one is to assess the situation. The second one is to assess the best solution. The third is to assess yourself. And the fourth is to burn or keep the bridge. So starting with number 1, assessing the situation. Pretty much what you need to do is look at the situation you're in and determine where you are in that situation. So determine if it's a toxic situation, If it's just a situation that you need to move on from because you're tired of it, determine if it's a situation that you're just bored of, or maybe you've just evolved and what you gained from that place is no longer what you're being currently offered anymore. Assessing the situation will assist you in determining how to act in the situation and how to move forward with the situation. Because, for example, now leaving a job because you found greener pastures and wanting to keep a relationship with your coworkers, yes, you've crossed that bridge, but you can leave that space open because it wasn't toxic, or it wasn't that you guys left on bad terms or there was a fight. It was just that it was time for you to move on, and that's what you did. Whereas if you're in an abusive or toxic relationship, looking back, you may, even if you've left from that situation, you wouldn't want to go back to it. So the second step is to assess the best solution for the situation that you find yourself in. So the best solution can vary as well, because it could be that you decide that you want to leave that situation permanently. It might be that you want to just step away from that situation for a while. It might be that you want to run away from that situation. Or it could be that you want to stay in communication with the people that have to do with that situation. So when it comes to assessing the best solution, it's important that you take some time to actually determine what is the right step for you to take. And this part, I would suggest the best way to go about it is to not think about how you feel. Just look at it from a third party perspective. Like, if somebody told me that they were in this situation, what is the advice that I would give them? So, of course, if, for example, from step one, which is assessing the situation, if you assess that it's a toxic situation, the best solution would be to leave and run away. So this will lead me into our third step, which is to assess yourself. Because now that you know what the situation is, what the best solution would be, it now comes a time where you need to actually look at yourself and say, who am I and how best can I deal with this situation? Because it's really easy to look at somebody's situation or somebody's life and give them advice on, oh, if that was me, I'd leave. If that was me, I wouldn't even look back. If that was me, I wouldn't feel bad. But in truth and actuality, taking those actions is a lot more difficult than what meets the eye, especially when you have ties to whatever situation you're in, whether it's emotional ties, whether you feel indebted to the person, whether there's financial ties. Anything can stop you from being able to make a seemingly easy solution to a problem that you have. So it's important that you assess yourself and determine if you actually have the abilities to stick to your guns and make a decision, or if you're the type of person who wavers. Because based on the type of person you are, it's going to heavily determine the type of steps you have to take when it comes to the bridges that you've crossed over. And if you're not the type of person who can stick to your guns, you have to ask yourself, what happens if I don't have the ability to stick to my word in this situation? If it's just a friend who gossips a lot and you don't really want to text or talk to them too much, not being able to stick to your guns might be that, oh, now I end up on a 10-minute call talking about random people that I don't care about. I'm rolling my eyes the whole time, but when we get off the phone, I'll be okay. But when it comes to toxic atmospheres, not being able to stick to your guns when you leave could put you in danger and put those around you in danger, and could be very detrimental to your mental health and potentially your life. So assessing yourself and understanding who you are is, I think, the most important part of determining how you're going to deal with your bridges. And step number 4 is to decide whether you want to burn or keep your bridges. I know I'm saying burn your bridge, torch it down. It sounds really dramatic. It sounds heavy. It sounds harsh. But burning your bridges is not necessarily something that's that dramatic. Burning your bridges is essentially deciding that I'm going to do whatever is in my power to hinder myself from ever being able to go back to a place that I was. And this can come in many different ways. It could easily be blocking someone on all social media, blocking their phone number, blocking them on WhatsApp, deleting any trace of them. Or it could be a restraining order. It could be you going to the courts and saying, I need this person to stay as far away from me as possible. It could even be you deciding to move away. Maybe you live in a situation that's not ideal for you, and you know that the best way for you to get out of that is to physically move yourself out of that situation. So when you decide whether or not you're going to burn or keep your bridge, you need to, within that, assess the best way to do it. Because if you're in a situation that could potentially turn dangerous, I wouldn't suggest making a loud scene. It might be something a little more mellow, but that gets the point across. When you decide to burn a bridge, ensure that your safety is what you put at the top of the list of important things, because the last thing you want to do is try to cut off a situation in a very dramatic, loud, over the top way and put yourself in danger because you didn't go about it the right way. So just for a recap, the 4 ways to determine how to deal with your bridges is: 1, to assess the situation; 2, assess the best solution; 3, assess yourself; and 4, decide whether you need to burn or keep the bridge. I hope this will offer you guys some help and maybe make it easier as you deal with situations that we all do in life, of walking away from things and knowing whether or not it's necessary for us to keep connection or just completely move on and not look back. And now I'm going to get into the weekly word. The weekly word is a guiding principle to apply throughout the week in hopes that it will help you maybe shed some light on aspects of your life that you don't look at in a certain way, or maybe help you to bring some things to the forefront. For this week, the word is maintain your level. So in this society of clapbacks, petty behavior, everybody seems to be stooping down to somebody else's level. And it's difficult. I'm not going to sit here and talk to you as if I'm this high and mighty person who doesn't have a petty bone that always seems to be itching to to reply to somebody or do things outside of myself. Michelle Obama said that when people go low, we should go high. But very often, I'm more interested in playing limbo, because since you want to go low, let's see how low we can go. But I'm trying to do better, guys, and I'm trying to help you guys do better. So what I want you to do this week is be solid in who you are, and remember that you are responsible for yourself. And when we deal with difficult people in all aspects of our lives that really try our patience, and just some of them just need words, but I want you to stand firm on who you are and maintain your level. So maintain your level of respect, maintain your level of dignity, maintain your level of confidence in who you are, to the point that you won't let somebody pull you outside of yourself, because it's really satisfying in the moment, trust me, to give that person a piece of your mind. But if it's not who you are at the core, you can find yourself feeling guilty for the decisions and the actions that you took, simply based on the fact that when all of the hot, bubbling heat of the moment dies down and you take some time to go back within yourself and assess the situation, you may find that the way you went about it doesn't represent who you are, and the outcome that came from you stepping outside of yourself and not maintaining your level was not what you wanted. I don't want you guys to mistake what I'm saying with you maintaining your level, that you don't reply to people or let them know that they're wrong. But it's important to do it in a way that you can maintain your dignity and say, yes, I I let this person know that what they're doing is incorrect, but I did it in a way that I believe in. I did it in a way that I didn't demean them. I did it in a way that I didn't swear at them. I didn't disrespect them. I just took the facts and put a mirror to them. So, yeah, I hope you guys will be able to try your best this week. And maybe if it's one person that you know in particular that tries you all the time, like that one coworker or that one friend that you're dealing with that's just really trying your patience, I'd suggest that before you reply them, just take a moment to step aside, step into yourself, determine who you are as a person, and reply and act from that place. Don't let people pull you out of yourself to get to places that don't represent who you want to be. Because at the end of the day, you can only speak on your behalf and you can only defend yourself. So if you go into these situations and you act in a way that's unbecoming of you and somebody ends up seeing you, there's no justification that will allow you to just get away with saying, well, they tried me. Because people will try you for the rest of your life. And if you're easily tried by everybody, you're going to live a very sad life where people will have the opportunity to pull you from left, right, and center just based on the fact that you do not have the ability to hold your emotions and control them when you're dealing with difficult people. So I wish you guys the best of luck with that this week. I hope it goes well. If you want to send me an email about it, I'd love to hear your stories of how you've maintained your level. And yes, that's the end of the podcast for today. I hope you guys have an amazing week, and I'll talk to you next Wednesday.